Hello, welcome again to this new session. This session would be entirely devoted to planning. After a brief recap, so we would be going through what exactly is planning, its nature and importance, with a bird's eye view on what shall ensure. Um, so this is what we have in store. So from last class, we had seen that managerial skills are necessary and what kind of skills we had come across: technical, conceptual, as well as interpersonal skills. So technical skills are those that are related to core competencies, okay, and interpersonal skills are those that relate to or involve people, okay, and conceptual skills are those that need discerning between things, discretion, forecasting, etc., wherein the organization's success or failure basically depends on these skills. So these are deemed as much very important. So who would need which skills in what to what extent? So we know that there are three levels of management, right? uh, Lower order or the supervisory level, the middle management, and the top management. So technical, interpersonal, and conceptual skills, if we keep them, so we'd have the lower management, okay, needing more of technical skills, and the middle management needing more or equal measures of all the skills, but more of interpersonal skills, okay, and at the top level, we would need more conceptual skills. So the next we have the roles of managers. We can put it broadly into three bins: interpersonal, informational, and decisional. In the interpersonal role, we have the leader acting as a figurehead or a representative body. He acts as a leader, motivating people to actuate things, activate them, or as a liaison to liaise or initiate new memorandum of understanding, etc. In the informational bin, we have the leader acting as a monitor, disseminator, or spokesperson of information that he actually processes, that is gained from the interpersonal bins. What I mean to say is, as a monitor, he monitors the information that's being passed through the organization and disseminates within the organization as a disseminator. And if he were to actually broadcast it to the outside of a portion of his organization, or to the outside world, he becomes a spokesperson. The most important roles, however, are those in the decisional pins, where a manager takes the role of an entrepreneur, where he has to start things on his own, actuate, conceptualize things, etc. Disturbance handler basically mitigates issues and mm, ambiguities. A resource allocator sees to it that there is an equitable distribution of resources, and a negotiator uh, tries to bring in normalcy. Okay. So there is a fundamental question that arises: how different is management from administration, or how similar are they? So we see that administration is a top level skill that is needed, and management would necessarily be uh, something that is done, a function that's done by the lower and the middle level managers, where the focus of formulation and objective determination is taken by administration. uh, I feel that the execution or executive powers are more in management, with a very defined and narrow scope. Uh, and the function would be determinative in administration. It's basically thinking function. So we have uh, administration being affected by external factors like social, political, taxations, etc., and management most often being influenced by internal factors as the values, beliefs, opinions more about the people within. And administration is a function that's carried out by entrepreneurs and owners, whereas management is necessarily by employees. Okay, so the managerial person have specialized knowledge, and uh, basically entrepreneurs and owners of an enterprise deal with administration. And needless to say, people who are in the management need to have more technical skills, and people in the administration need to have more conceptual skills as well as administrative skills. Okay. So the next question was, how is management a science? Is it an art, or is it? I mean, how is it a profession? It's a question that is that needs quite a bit of focus. So, what are the necessary attributes of science? It's a systematic body of knowledge. Uh, Facts are verified by phenomena and they are established. There's a established cause and effect relation, and necessarily if a body is if a discipline is science, then it is a systematic body of knowledge where scientific methods of inquiry um, and empirical or observation exists, and information can be ordered and analyzed, and the results are cumulative and communicable, and most importantly verifiable, and hence universally accepted. And if we go on to see how management is a science, we see that this is also a systematized body of knowledge. There are well-defined principles. Also, management is a social science. We have human behavior at play here, and hence it's more often unpredictable and defies experimentation. It's an inexact science because what is true in one geography need not be true in other cases. And manager is a scientist where he too tries to experiment with various things and documents the results. Scientific management is necessarily carried out. Hence, management is also a science. The next portion here is whether it is an art. So, what is an art? So, art is something where there is a practical knowledge that's applied and personalized and basically practiced through a longer period of time to perfect whatever they have been doing, and they try towards attaining a particular level of perfection that they feel. It is more subjective and not as well defined as science. So, how is management an art? So, you have practical use of knowledge that a manager keeps using. It's an acquired skill. Nobody is born with one case fits all formula. It is management is more subjective and only improved with skill. It's a creative art. It's again personalized just like art, and one improves with constant practice. Now, management is an art as well as a science, also a profession. How so? So we see that profession is something that is a well-defined body of knowledge. There is a formal education and training usually for professionals, right? And there is a representative body often like in Indian Council of Medical Research or the IEEE in case of engineers, I IET, so on and so forth, right? Management actually doesn't have any representative body, but management actually represents a representative body. Though there is a well-defined code of conduct for most professionals, managers are not defined by a certain code of conduct, but it is imperative that they do good for the society and are morally responsible for maintaining the ethical practices. The service motto is foremost in almost all professional organizations, whereas service is foremost in management. It is not explicitly said so. So, management, oh, I'm sorry about this. So we have management as a profession based on the very same thing. So this was the assignment that was given, where you need to actually read up on the case study given in the textbooks. Textbook I had noted down to group yourselves in five and come up with ideas, five of your own, and discuss with your team and come up with five that can be jotted out. Okay, now let's move on to today's topic, planner. Okay, so without much ado, let me just give a gentle introduction. Now, I feel that often when we start with a definition, we kill the joy of the subject, right? So let's just take 3 use cases and see what we understand. Now, um my college is in Penjanpadu, so how do we go from here to Bangalore? So there are 3, 4, 5 specific routes, or sorry, different routes, and unless and until, okay, one specifies that we need to go via some route or take the longest route or take the shortest route, okay, oh, there is a quandary actually as to which route is to be followed, right? So you see the difference between specific and directional. So you have a place A and you need to go to place B. Now how is the question? Okay? This is a task, as is the next one. Say you have to plan an event, okay, at a set date. How do you go about that? Okay, so you'll need to basically understand what are the rules and regulations, when and how will you be doing it, who will be involved, what tasks or roles would they be actually taking up, how will they do it, and what should they do in order to ensure a successful event, and how do you know that it has been successful, compare with something that happened last time, and what if something goes wrong, how do they correct it? So there are a lot of questions there, right? So um, let's take the third and the last use case here. Why do you need to write a resume? Okay, so I resume is the best example for a plan. So when you start putting things into black and white, you realize where you are and you get a very definite idea as to where you want to be. Okay, so yeah, um, why do you need to make a 1 minute pitch? So these are general questions that one might be asking, but the answer is evident when you come to your probably third or fourth year, when you actually go for a drive for either internship or placement. Okay, so yes, this is exactly what I told just now. This illustrates it very well. So T1 is say when you are in the first year and T2 is your third year, okay, and you have definite expectations as to what you have to be achieving as like objectives, right? So the course of duration, time, and how you actually go about from your place to where you have to be. So that, okay, is something that we need to look. So there is a fourth use case. How do you plan another event? Okay, so say an industrial visit to Munnar, probably a tea factory there, chocolate factory. So anyway, so this also would require planning, right? So what exactly do you think now that I have given these 4 use cases, 4 or 5 use cases? What constitutes planning? So somebody opines that determination of future course of actions well in advance, having a blueprint of action and operation. It's an intellectual process which is concerned with deciding in advance what, when, how, who, okay, shall do the work. Okay, this is okay, pretty descriptive, but there's something else that this says it is anticipating the future to achieve better performance. Okay, so more than what you currently have, right? Determination of future course of action in advance. Okay, these are interesting. There's one more that's very eye catchy. Trap laid to capture the future. Okay, so this one encapsulates everything that I actually wanted to say. Okay, so you have some objectives that you wish to attain, and how do you actually do that? Okay, so the laying of the trap is the. Let's see what people who have studied management have to say. So Combs O'Donnell are great writers, have written classic textbooks in management, uh, essentially on planning actually. They feel that planning is basically deciding in advance what to do, how to do, when to do, and who is to do it. It's basically a bridge, okay, that connects where one is to where they want to go. It is the essence of foresight. Okay, Peter Drucker, another famous management scientist, says that it is an intellectual process which requires a manager to think before acting. It is management function that includes decisions and actions to ensure future results. Okay, so planning is necessarily a management function. Haing and Massey have come up with a brilliant definition telling that it is a function of a manager in which he decides in advance what he will do, and it's a decision making process of a special kind. It's an intellectual process in which creative mind and imagination are essential. Okay, these look good, but how does one, encapsulate or rather, characterize planning? So the nature of planning can be described basically in four words, in four ways. So it's a rational approach. So as the diagram illustrates, uh, it is a well defined process wherein one charts out what is the path to be traced in order to reach one's objective after a given duration of time. Okay, it is an open system approach. So what does one mean by an open system approach? So what one necessarily means by the open system approach is that uh, between where you are and where you want to be and finally reach there, there are a lot of factors affecting your goal and the rate at which you achieve that goal. Okay, external factors like environmental, economical, legal, many things that are outside of your control. So it's an open system approach. Flexibility of planning means that though you write down things that this is the way you need to go, it is you yourself who is writing down, and hence, plans are flexible in the sense that there are a multiplicity of them to enable you to achieve your goals, and hence be flexible in that way. Pervasiveness. Now, just like management is pervasive, it is essential in all disciplines. Planning too is pervasive. That is to say that it is a fundamental management function wherein every level, be it the top, middle, or the lower management, they need to plan. They cannot escape it. Okay, so these are the four words, or rather, these are the four ways in one can describe the nature of planning. Now, why does one need to do it? So, if I do not plan, okay, and I straight away try to visit Munnar as an industrial visit without having secured permissions uh, for the necessary industrial visit, or without having made any other inquiries, okay, how would the visit be? Would it be successful if I plan it, soon after, the lockdown or rather unlock 5 has been given? One would expect a lot of crowd and things like that, but things change, right? So to guarantee success, one needs to be able to plan. So what else do you understand other than success? Is there any other gain from planning? Let's just have a look. So why it is important is because um, yeah, we can encapsulate the necessity of planning in these few words. Okay, these are keywords, please keep them in mind. uh, what is primacy of planning? Okay, it is a primary function, the foremost function in management, yes, but uh, unless one plans, one cannot go ahead and organize and lead and control things. So this is the primary primacy in planning. So unless one does this activity, one cannot actually go ahead. And of course, it minimizes risk and uncertainty. So if you plan well, you can mitigate, not only mitigate your risk, but also overcome uncertainties. Planning necessarily ensures a very higher rate of success, but also in the process it makes one much more oriented towards their goals. Okay, and once things are in place, and you have a fair idea as to what to anticipate by means of uh, alternate plans, etc., you'll be able to control the activities better, right? And once a person knows what he is to do, what he has to anticipate, can expect, etc., a person is well trained in his job. So a well trained person with good facilitation for control, with good orientation for uh, one's goals and objectives, okay, will also see to it that the wastage or redundancy is also minimized. So increased efficiency is naturally a byproduct, right? So so we spoke of uncertainty, right? So changes are natural, but still the impact of change is need not be very far reaching if one plans well ahead for. So what else? So we see that the benefits of planning, okay, other than goal focusing on the goal focus, and minimizing risk and uncertainty, improving efficiency, facilitating control, promoting innovation and creativity. Now it's just not enough if you succeed, but you need to be actually very good at whatever you do. So you need to have an edge over others. So you need to necessarily invest some amount of time, and this calls for a lot of the only benefits, or other innovation and creativity are naturally byproducts of planning. It can't happen impromptu. Okay, what comes upon as impromptu may not actually sustain in the long run, unless it is planned well. Okay, so coordination is better, again redundancy is less, and impact of change is felt lesser. So these are benefits. So all these certainly leads towards. So this also illustrates the function. Okay. Let's just have a very quick look as to what will be there in the ensuing uh, videos. Okay, so basically how does one plan, right? So establish verifiable goals, establish boundaries and limits, decide on the planning period, individual tasks that constitute the job, identify alternatives, and once you have identified them, you basically evaluate which one is the best one, select it, and then take an alternate course of action if at all you come across a change. Develop supportive plans. So when you're going towards a particular destination, it might always help to go on sightseeing and things like that. Additional things that you can do: measure and control the progress. So these constitute the 7 steps, okay, in planning. So why did I tell about that? Because you need to have a definite perspective before going ahead. So types of planning. So how does one plan? Covered. What are the different types of plans, or rather planning? Let's just have a view. There's a subtle differentiation that I would like to bring to your notice here. These are types of planning as opposed to types of plan, right? So based on the coverage of the activity, you can have corporate or functional. Corporate plans are for the entire company, functional plans are specific to the department. Strategic or operational uh, plans are uh, more to do with the level of uh, management. People at the top level are more involved in strategic planning, and tactical or operational plans are mostly done by the people in the middle level and lower level or supervisory management. If one were to talk of long term plans, one always can think of 5 year plans, right? Still better, I feel resume is the best way of actually thinking of. So when you start writing a resume, it's always what you have done, but you'll get a very clear picture of as to what you want to do, say 4 years hence, right? So based on the approach, okay, or the cause and effect principle, if you are anticipating some change, you would do a proactive plan, and if you have already met with a change, you'll take reactive plans or reactive measures in order to ensure success at whatever you're doing. Formal and informal are the nature of plans if you're dealing with something that is not necessarily official. So thank you. We'll meet again.